All right. Welcome to This Podcast Needs a Name, a podcast so creative we couldn't even name it. I'm your host, Lee Allentuck, and today's episode is extra special because I got two of my best friends, and it's our first ever recording. So we'll see how this goes. My first guest is a neurodevelopmental biologist and professor at Smith College, an artist, a tinkerer, and from everything I know about him, probably make a much better volcano science project than any of us.
Happy to be here,
And
Lee. Happy to be here.
and then there's Mike. No, and second guest is a communications expert and change management catalyst from
Dr.
Lego.
B, very similar.
Hunter, a dad. You gotta let me finish, man. And one of the most positive people I've ever worked with. He's got an amazing way of looking at challenges and opportunities from total new angles. So welcome, Dr. Michael Barresi and Mike Cass.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having us.
I feel like we're ZZ Top, where you got the two bearded guitarists, and then
I was just gonna say
beard with no beard.
I think we're just happen to be your two best bearded friends. Is what that are also named. That are also named Mike.
Like classify that. I got a lot of bearded friends.
Do they? All three of them don't have beards?
Beard. Who I think he died. He was the drummer who had a big, giant mustache but no beard.
No beard. What do you think was behind that?
It's hard to play the drums with a giant beard hanging over, I think.
And you know, because you're a drum player.
I do like to like hit the tambourine once in a while. Yeah, that's true.
Hit the skins. Yeah, hit the skins.
I was gonna say beat the skins, but that's probably not appropriate on a podcast these
Probably
days.
Not. No.
So we're talking about creativity. We're talking about how you guys utilize it. You two are like super creative, and I was actually really excited about having you both on. First is to test the system and see how it works before I get a real guest on. But second is we talk every week. We have these coffee talks every Friday or every couple Fridays, depending on schedules. And you guys are just into creative stuff. Michael, you are, an artist, a digital artist, but you also make things, and you really sort of try to put that into every part of your life, even as a scientist. And Mike, everything you do with the community, you're always trying to find creative ways of connecting with people, whether it's through running and through things. So like, how important is creativity to each of your lives? So I'll start with Michael. Like, how important is it to be creative or be around creativity and things like that?
Again, thanks, Lee, for having me on your podcast, this inaugural event. Super honored. Creativity.
We're giving out jackets, by the way, so you'll get
fantastic.
A jacket in the mail. Yeah.
Creativity for me is essential. Ever since I was super young, I was really interested in the arts, particularly studio art, and I've just stayed with it. I really trained myself to actually develop skills. Maybe I have a little bit of innate talent, but it was many, many, many years of working in a variety of different medias and just finding absolute joy and love with that. It also has become really an essential mechanism and strategy for how I communicate. So this is both in my work, which you mentioned, I'm a scientist. I have to be able to communicate both my science in terms of when I go to apply for grants or if I'm publishing papers, but also as a professor, how do I communicate science in a science topic, which is developmental biology, is a very visual one. Mm-hmm. So it lends itself to really trying to create and establish visual effects that communicate very complex, often extremely abstract information that a lot of people have trouble, grappling with and digesting. So the idea of creativity in its literal sense of actually creating things. So I create a variety of visuals that help to communicate science. I write a textbook. I do most of the art associated with that.
Is that common? Are neurodevelopmental biologists by nature good artists or illustrators? Like, is that
well, I will say
class
It
they're
is.
drawing in their books and stuff? Like that
There's a
seems so.
LinkedIn channel for that, I think.
I would say no, statistically, that is not the case. However, historically, biologists in general have actually had the necessity of needing to be a very good illustrator because there wasn't mechanisms to document.
Yeah.
If you were looking through a microscope, you inherently had to be able to draw what you were seeing as accurate as possible. So the overlap and sort of linkage of art and art ability with science, at least historically, was a necessity. I've found it to just, it's just who I am and how I do things, and it does work well, particularly in the visual biological life that I study.
Nice. And Mike, with your work, you're surrounded by creative people all over the place. Lego is just known for its ability to inspire creativity, inspire building, and things like that. Like, how does that cross over to your world? And you were a product manager. You're kind of a project manager of sorts in communications. How does communication play a role in such a creative environment for you?
Well, first, Mr. Allentuck,
Did I say something?
absolute pleasure to be here today. I do need to correct you. It is the Lego group. We never
Come
say
on.
Lego. Okay, now let's.
Yes, when the kids are getting those Christmas gifts, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I got the Lego group box."
Listen, buddy, you take care of the brand, Mr. Man.
I don't work there anymore, man. I can just say whatever I want.
I cannot allow it.
All right.
And then I think it's a good way to build on what Dr. Barresi was just talking about. Although I didn't understand the thing he said, he's
He's very sciencey.
He's so smart.
We have to have like two sides of the spectrum, and sorry, Mike.
I feel
Well,
like
this is This is a podcast where it's audio. I just told you I'm a visual communicator.
This is video, man. This is the new era. Like this is gonna be. You might have wanted to put on a hat or something.
Because I see the three of us on the screen, and I'm in the middle, and I think I really should slide to my right. Lee, you get in the middle, and that's a better balancing, right?
Oh,
super creative, smart, intelligent, Dr. Barresi. Then very
listen to him dodge the question. That wasn't even the gotcha question.
Well,
that was literally the starting question of like, how do you use creativity?
Right. And here's the thing: if you think about it, step back, 30,000-foot view. What did I just do there, Lee?
That
was all a lesson.
I don't think we have a clue what you did.
That was a creative communication.
Oh my God, this is off the rails already.
That was just brilliant on my part, and I'm not even a scientist. I just went there and I brought it together. Hey, what's going on in the background there? Who's getting yelled at?
Oh my God! This is look at this. This is a closed circuit here.
I can't shut the door. Hold on.
What are we looking at now? Jeez.
What's going on? Oh, there she is.
Hey, welcome. It's Heather Barresi.
This is being recorded, just so you know.
We're doing a podcast.
Can't shut the door. Whatever.
Why can't you shut the door?
Because it's got a bunch of...
Oh, Dr. Barresi getting hacked.
Wow.
Ooh.
Honestly, do you think like any other like famous scientist or Nobel Peace Prize winner ever had to deal with that shit?
Probably yes.
Now,
because they're so focused on the creative process, you end up blocking everything else out, and the world contracts.
Behind every brilliant scientist is a wife that's gonna bitch slap you and put you in your place.
Supportive.
Sorry.
That was
could
helping.
You draw that moment, Dr. B? Could you illustrate that for us?
Will that go in your journal, your dream journal?
It's definitely in my journal.
Nice.
Back to me.
Okay.
How could I improve?
I don't even know anymore, man. Like that was like an hour ago.
How are you creative there?
Yeah. What do you do? What is it you say you do here?
Yeah, that's
you build Legos.
Excellent.
What kind of like?
Oh,
did he say Legos?
I mean, on occasion I'll build a Lego set. I will use Lego bricks to create something of meaning. No, I actually don't see myself as creative at all. I think I see myself as curious, and I think it's a big part of creativity. And I think about the different things that I've been able to do over the years. Lee, you mentioned a couple of sort of charitable things. Like that's just really a product of being curious, looking around, not seeing something that I wish existed, and then starting it. And I guess if anything, I've been fortunate to be around some people that are easily manipulated into helping me. But I think for me,
Like
it's
the
more
people
around that
on this
communication.
webcast.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more around that communication piece, right? It's about being able
Yeah.
to clearly articulate a vision and where you want to take something, and then inspiring people to join you. And I think that's kind of where any little bit of creativity I have might come in handy, in and around that space. But I don't see myself as creative. I feel like when I was younger, I wanted to be, but I defaulted to sports.
I
Do
don't know,
you, but
Mike.
do
I
you
kind
think?
of I respectfully disagree, and not to answer the question for you,
Please do.
Go
but
ahead. That was
I
a terrible
think
answer, Michael. Go ahead.
I think I think your inherent creativity comes in this unique ability to actually see how different, very potentially disparate things can actually be connected together to create a brand new perspective, a brand new product, a brand new idea. That is actually the absolute definition of creativity. And that's what I think makes you an effective communicator and uh, um, fuels your curiosity to the point of making actual tangible outcomes. So a
And
lot
that's
of
a
people are,
scientist. That's a scientist saying that.
Yeah, but no, I mean he does make a good point. I would say that the whole purpose of this podcast is to prove that anybody can be creative, and most of the times they are creative. I often ask myself, "Am I really creative?" Like I can't draw or illustrate. I can't, I like writing, but I don't necessarily look at myself as the most creative writer. And I think a lot of people don't consider themselves creative when they really, really are. I love being around the creative process. I love being around creative people. But yeah, I would agree with Dr. B there, Puddles. You're pretty damn creative in the way you carry yourself like you said, connect people to things. And yeah, I wouldn't sell yourself short on that. You got a
Yeah.
ton of creativity.
All
I
right.
mean, I'm sure you're gonna talk about, your upcoming initiative for helping groups solve problems, and your creative use of actually leveraging the building process of Legos to help other people see how to even get through a problem. That's crazy creative.
The most creative thing I've done all day is refer to myself as Puddles on this video. So I
It
accept
is
everything
kind of
you
the
guys
perfect nickname for you now. Like it's gonna stick.
Oh, it's sticking
take it.
hardcore.
Yeah.
Puddles is great.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I would love you to sing some really sad opera, to add to
Oh,
it.
yeah. What was it? What was it? Puddles the clown or something?
Puddles the clown. Yeah, he like
Puddles the
sings
sad
like
clown,
modern songs, but very sadly.
but like with a great voice. I remember that dude.
Was So one of the things that does tie us together, the three of us, other than the fact that we live like a mile away from each other collectively, is I consider you guys to be like some of the best dads I know. And I'm not trying to butter you up at all. I don't really care if you like me or not. But it's more about you guys are very active in your kids' lives. You're very part of their groups that they hang out with, their activities and things like that. Mike, you coached your kids in running quite a bit. Michael, you were a big supporter of the programs your kids were doing, whether it was in the acting world or the robotics, where I knew you from. We started to get to know each other. Like, how important was creativity or curiosity or spurring that on for you guys with your kids? Like, did you take an active role in that to like get them to like want to be creative, or did you just sort of follow their lead? Like, what was your thoughts on that when they were younger? They're much younger than they are now. Now they're kind of solidified into who they are, and you can make an impact. I'm just
Well,
kidding.
one thing for me that I think, and really fortunate for this, in that having worked at the Lego Group for pretty much their entire lives. I mean, our oldest is a little bit older. I think he was around 10 or so when I started there. There's an inherent creativity with building Lego sets, whether that's
Yeah.
building what's on the box or whether that's just taking everything apart and building what you want. So there was a natural draw to that sort of world of creativity just based on where I work and what I would bring home every day. But I think it's manifested itself in different ways. So the middle one, Aiden, is more of a acting and sort of writing and sort of that. Where Taryn, the youngest one, is more drawing and creative in that way. And then Jace is very science focused. So they've all sort of developed their own sort of approach and path in that way. And I think a lot of that comes down to friend groups, in addition to parenting and just sort of the social connections they create in the community. But so it's really, I don't think it's been one thing, but I do think that for me anyways, that having Lego sets in the house ever since they were young is really fueled a lot of their creativity.
Nice. So all to Lego? You're giving it all to Lego.
I'm giving a lot of it to them.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, how else could you like just put a bunch of Lego brick in a room and just go out for a couple hours, have some beers,
Yeah,
and expect them to be creative? You
that's
need
good
something for them to
parenting.
do while I was out. Yeah.
That's good parenting. Yeah.
Good question, Lee. I think creativity helps a person find themselves and become who they are. And in terms of parenting, it was always a function of creating an environment where my children could explore,
Hmm.
tap into that initial curiosity that Puddles was talking about. And when they see a thing they're curious
Okay.
about,
It's sticking, man.
just make sure that you have as many different ways of looking at that and analyzing that curiosity that they may be interested in. So, for instance, my oldest son really liked sort of tinkering, and that led into, all right, well, let me put some things for you to tinker with, whether it be wood, metal, etc., and just start building. Then that turned into jewelry design. And so then he really started to fine tune how to do that and think and learn different methods. And then that turned into welding and taking welding courses and learning how to do actually more significant sculpture based stuff. And so he turned into kind of a three-dimensional artist, while at the same time kind of developed his engineering aspect of that, which participated, thanks to you. You gave him access to robotics. And that tapped into this sort of amazing merging of engineering and art that then he kept pushing. But then another kid, next in line, Jonah, was a much more extroverted individual who took hold of his interest in sort of theater and singing and acting, and that developed into a whole career where now he's a filmmaker. But that started back in elementary school, and all I could do as a parent was like, oh, you're interested in this direction? All right, let's see if I can get you some singing lessons, or see if I can get you some acting lessons. We'll see. And if you like it, if you keep doing it and you're actually working at it, then we'll keep helping you out. And just, again, providing these different opportunities that allow them to follow their curiosity, which then circles back and helps them develop into the individual that they hopefully are most proud of.
Well, when you guys were kids, like, what was your creative outlet? Like, you talked about your kids, and I think it's very funny that we all, Mike, you got three kids. One's into science, one's into writing, one's into illustration. Michael, your kids are all over the place, right? You've got the top one's a mechanical engineer and industrial designer. You've got the actor, then you've got the sports kid and business kid, and then you've got the third one who's kind of following into, but he's more into digital media.
Computer science.
Yeah, and then I've got a kid who's a mechanical engineer or electrical engineer, and then my daughter is kind of the artist, writer, and performer. Like, all of our kids are all different, right? So it wasn't just one thing that sort of groomed them into that or developed them into those specific things. That's pretty crazy to me. Like, you would think like there'd be a formula, like all my kids, I'm going to push them into that, and all of our kids are very different from each other.
It's interesting too, right? Because the younger kids are coming up and seeing what the older ones have done and or
Yeah.
do. And in our cases, they've all chosen a different something else, right? It's not like, oh, Jace is very much into science. I want to be. It's like that's like the furthest thing Aiden wants to do. It just yes, it's obviously the roles that we play, but also just their siblings.
Yeah.
I'd say it's a sign of success, honestly, and from a parenting standpoint. If my kids are really able to follow their passion, I don't know if we can expect to accomplish anything more than that, personally.
It'd be nice if they were all doctors and we could just live off of them, or maybe start some big business that we can just fly on their company jet or something. But I'll take this. This isn't so bad.
Whatever they want.
Pretty good.
I just want happiness.
What was your creative outlet as kids? Like, what was your go-to activity or toy or whatever that kind of like?
I mean, substantially, I was just a drawer nonstop. drawing forever, always.
Like
But
cartoons
outside of that,
or like tracing?
actually, no, like really fine. Like I was obsessed with anatomy and trying to
Which
be
part of the
able
anatomy?
We'll always be 4 years old.
I know.
muscle and face were from an artist, and bone,
Yeah.
muscle, and face. So, from an early, just trying to really draw as accurately as possible. Like
Yeah.
I had it in my head that like if I really thought I could be a good artist, like I had to actually be able to replicate something as precisely as possible.
Yeah.
I thought about actually going into a career in scientific illustration for a little bit, and then decided that actually what I've learned in being an artist was my best art came from when I understood the subject the best.
Yeah.
The most intent. So that's what actually pushed me to go on to stay into the sort of knowledge-based science, go get my PhD. Can I really understand this better than anybody? And I thought that would actually make me a better artist because frankly, you can go find someone to draw anything, but are they going to know what to draw?
Yeah.
And so that's what pushed me that direction. The only other influence was really, I suppose there were two influences. One is I just was out in nature all the time, like nonstop. Breakfast, leave, and then I was in the woods with my buddy.
Yeah.
And then came back and but there was some art talent in my family. One of my older brothers was a fine artist, and he's now a graphic designer. So seeing him do cool stuff, I certainly had many different mentors in my time.
Nice. What about you, Puddles? What was your go-to creativity or activity as a kid?
Yeah, certainly drawing was part of it. And I just love the contrast between Dr. B and I, where he's drawing intricate anatomy and I was drawing Garfield. I think it lines up pretty well with where we both ended up.
I was doing Looney Tunes. I was really
perfect.
Looney Tunes
Marvin the Martian, that was a great one.
Yeah, that was one of my go-to.
But when Mike was just talking, it made me reflect a little bit. This isn't unheard of insight, but when we were growing up, you were outside. You were out in the woods, and this is not hey, what a terrible world we live in now. But it was you had to create your own.
That's another
things,
podcast,
right?
man. That's a whole grumpy old man.
You had to use your imagination. Riding your bike. We used to create a dirt bike trail in the back, and you'd ride your bike, but you weren't just riding your bike, right? You were escaping from something.
Yeah.
You were creating a story.
Well, we weren't allowed in the house. It wasn't you could sit on the couch and watch TV or anything.
I love that. Get my Huffy BMX and go around the berm, hit the jump. We had those too. It was awesome.
I got hand-me-down 10-speed bikes that barely moved.
Yeah, but you're a spy, or you've created a narrative. You're not just riding around and jumping on things. Sometimes you did that too, but there was always a narrative. You're creating a storyline in your mind, and so I think that's some of the stuff that when I think back now, it was that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, there was a lot of storytelling in that kind of atmosphere, right? We would build forts and then come up with what battles we're doing, or we actually burned the fort down once, and my best friend's dad was the fire chief, and he had to come and put it out.
Did you do it for the insurance money?
Now we were in a field like behind our house, and they were doing construction, so they put like all the brush into big piles, and we built like double and triple decker forts, and we built a fireplace and oven or a stove in one of them with bricks and everything. We brought like utensils out and everything. We were making hot dogs, and it got real smoky quick. Really
That's
nice.
amazing.
Yeah, my
That's
kids love
amazing.
that story. That's where the creativity came to, how to lie to your parents of what
Mm.
into all the utensils in the house.
And sparked your pyromania career.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. But yeah, it's. I think it's funny. Like as kids, you were forced. There wasn't as much entertainment now, right? There wasn't as much. You can go on YouTube and get lessons real quick. Back when we were kids, not to sound like again grumpy old men, but we had to figure it out ourselves, right? If you were going to draw something, you usually take a picture and figure out how to draw it yourself, and just learn how to sketch. Whereas now you can take full courses online for free, and but people don't, right? Like some people who want to be creative and they want to learn how to draw, they have all the access in the world. Like what's keeping them from doing that? What's like for me, it's like I've always wanted to illustrate. I've always wanted to draw. I did it as a kid, but now I just can't get myself to do it. Like, what is that like holding us back? Is it too much information, too easy, or just too many other things going on in our lives?
I mean, it's never one thing, right? I think there's certainly something about busy lives, raising families, earning money, all that kind of stuff. But also, I think that there's something about imposter syndrome, or like I couldn't
That was my
be good
next
at that, or
area. Yeah,
yeah, right.
go in.
It's like, well, who am I to do that? And why anybody want to see what I've done, or like who, there's something around that more than likely, I think, for a lot of people.
How do you deal with that? Like, if you, I mean, let me ask you both a question, right? You're both pretty accomplished guys. Do you have imposter syndrome ever? Do you ever feel like that?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I want to be a much better scientist, and it's just
Yes, 100%. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
thing I have to actively repress and overcome. And I would probably argue a lot of whatever success I've had is because I assertively figured out how to overcome fear.
Yeah. Fear of not being able to do it, or fear of not worthy of doing it, or
I mean, fill in the blank with whatever
yeah,
whatever you want, but ultimately that worry of fear can repress our ability to do anything, to even think of going down this path. The idea of me writing a textbook, like, forget it. I mean, it is so much latent fear put into that if anyone, like, how are people going to receive that product? You're in the
yeah.
entire field of developmental biology, and every different student, professor are evaluating it. I mean, that is just so much
Are you worried
honestly.
about getting called out? Are you like? I mean, this is really interesting to
You're
me.
just putting yourself out there in a very um, objective way that can be, especially in the field of science, to use this example, we are inherently extremely critical individuals. Um, I mean, purposefully,
No,
like
I
it's
know,
part
I
it's
know,
part of
man.
the field. Like, you have to be critical. You
Yeah.
have to question everything, and so that's just the nature of science.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, honestly.
Does it keep you
But
honest? Does it keep you like make you
oh
work?
yeah, 100. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it definitely makes me like, all right, well, I can't not make sure I check my sources. I can't
Yeah.
not double, triple check. What I'm about to say. Is this the right sort of facts, and
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. Um, so it's a very rigorous process that is uh, lends itself to being critiqued, and
Yeah.
you have to just kind of, yeah, you got to overcome that fear and say, I'm going to do the best that I possibly can. I'm going to follow a lot of hopefully gold standard based approaches to coming up with the things that I think should be presented in that example. But
Do you think
also,
like yeah.
there's so many other examples of, like, teaching in general. I remember walking into being in my office the first time when I got hired as a professor, and I'm like, when is someone going to come and tell me how I'm supposed to teach? Nope. And
What?
and I could get
Just show
fired
up
in
the first
six.
day and you're in front of the class and like Hey, I'm your teacher.
Yeah,
And you're like
and
really older than they are too, right?
right. But also, as a professor, in 6 years you could lose your job.
Yeah.
If you don't get tenure. So it's extremely stressful and fear-inducing. But I just very early on, I said, all right, I could either allow this to envelop me, or I'm going to just do the best, most creative way I want to do this, and it's either going to be good enough for them or it's not. And that made all the difference because I ended up doing a bunch of really different innovative things that has really helped me to grow as a professor and scientist and artist, etc.
How often do you guys have to talk yourself off the ledge, like for that
With
kind of stuff?
well,
Like you're like with the imposter syndrome or the doubt. I hate bullies. Like that's one of my biggest pet peeves in
mm,
the world. And I think we are probably bigger bullies on ourselves than anyone else can
Mm.
be.
yeah.
And like I find myself of like when I get wound up and I'm feeling that pressure or feeling that like that self doubt. And it's usually probably leading up to something or when I'm by myself and the demons in my head come to roost and you end up having to like talk yourself down and walk yourself through. Do you guys have a system of that of how you avoid that?
I don't know
I'll
if
let
it's
you
a
go, Mike,
system.
because I
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
yeah.
because I think Dr. B might have a system, and I want to know what it is. I think there's probably a couple different parts of it, right? One is to actually become aware of it in the moment, right? So there's like recognizing, like, oh, why am I feeling this way, or what is this about? Then there's also something about, well, why do I care about whatever I'm worried about? And then there's like, well, the reason I care is because it's important. And you sort of get in this circle in your mind about, what is happening right now and what am I trying to accomplish? But for me, it's the realization that 99% of the people have imposter syndrome and 1% lies, right? So everybody has it, and there's something about that for me that usually gets me to kind of move off of whatever I'm thinking about or worried about. And I was like, this is anybody you see is feeling or wrestling with this in some way, shape, or form. It's just, I think it's something about what we are as a species.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's great, Mike. And I agree with it 100 everything you just said. The only other thing I would add, I guess, is I try to separate myself from the thing or act that I'm doing or the thing I'm going to make. It's really not about me. It's very much about the product I'm trying to produce.
Mhm.
The you just really find the essence of what the thing is that you're doing, why you're doing it, and just literally cut out all the other shit because it is just that.
Yeah.
It's noise um, that only pollutes and dilutes the message or thing that you are trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I think there's something about giving it a personality in a way too, right? Whoever like you look at and you're like, what an asshole. Like make that the thought. It's like,
Yeah.
what an asshole. There's something about giving it that sort of name and face and
Yeah.
behavior. Like, all right, screw you, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, it's funny. Bill Hader is like one of my favorite comedians. He has this thing about his depression and anxiety, and he actually calls it his little monkey on his shoulder or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. And he's just like, oh, that's just my monkey. Like, it's there. It's real, but like I don't pay attention to it. It's just sort of lets it walk around. And I think the same could be said for that imposter syndrome because that is anxiety. It is that sort of self doubt and anxiousness that you get when, again, you're left to sort of think too much, overthink the problem or overthink what you're doing. But let's get back to. I just got like one more question about creativity and curiosity. Like, how do you guys in like today, like if you're not feeling it, right, or you want to sort of instill some creativity, like what do you guys do to spark that, right? And I know what Puddles is going to say, but I'll let him say it anyways because uh, I think we know you so well. But like, what is your spark? Like, what does get you out there and clears your head and allows you to start thinking creatively again?
Well, I'll put a twist on it for you there. Okay, Puddle's gonna throw a twist on it.
All
Um,
right.
so yes, I would go for a run. But what's amazing for me, anyways, or where I
That's
start,
all we have today, guys. It was a good show. No.
but honestly, where I end up struggling is that when I'm on a run, especially a long run, I have the best thoughts. I have so much inspiration. I'm like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. And I get home and now the endorphins come down. It's like, and I don't get to certain things that I was actually, while I was on the run, I'm like, this is going to be amazing.
That's the old, like, I have a dream or I'm in the shower, like, it's your best thinking moments, right?
Yeah, it's just like there's something about that flow state of running where it's just like, oh, I have all these great ideas and I'm feeling inspired and I'm the best version of myself I possibly could be. And then you kind of get back into the real world and you don't action most of it. So it's like I've really been trying to focus on creating some really clear goals and articulating them for my in a way that resonates with me when I'm outside of that environment. Because it's easy on the run to be super creative, super inspired. It's when I'm back and navigating everything else in the life. So yeah, so running is the main thing I do to get out and process and think and just sort of escape.
Drugs, a lot of drugs. Just put me in the right.
What kind? Like good ones? Like,
No,
do you,
no
do you
drugs.
steal your kids'
You hold
drugs?
it. How do you hold things? Is it
The absence of drugs, actually.
Alcohol.
No, I'm a big believer in deep focused time work. I find that there are phases of the creative process and I hate the opening phase, the starting phase, the get your shit all laid out, get all the materials, think about how you did. Like it takes like a lot of initial activation energy to get over that hump to then actually be in the sort of, call it the REM of creativity, where you're really going and you're completely utterly focused.
Yeah.
So the things for me is finding the enough time that will allow me to get over that moment of activation energy required and have some sustained focused time that I can really, really just focus and think about that. Which that's what has me, particularly worried for society today, because that is really dwindling the amount of attention and focused time that people are able to do. But that's an essential ingredient to me.
It's super hard. I mean, it's even in our everyday life, like, sitting down for more than like 30 seconds with a thought. And like, that's because we've been trained now for so long to just little clips here and little clips there, and that's how we do it. But it's
for instance, like here is a piece I'm working on
yeah.
that has been sitting here on my desk all summer, and it should be farther enough along, it should be done, but I'm not done on it because it's like I need more than 15 minutes.
And the laundry's got to get done, and then you got to make dinner, and like,
what if? How? Listen, hear me.
Oh, here it comes.
This is good.
This is why we did this podcast. This is it. Go.
This is a creative process happening. Process for our friends in Canada. Process.
You Canadian?
What if the next podcast? What are we calling this thing? Name's the thing about Joe.
Were you guys gonna name it in a second?
What if?
No pressure.
The next one is just Dr. B's laptop focused down on his artwork, and he's performing his artistic work while we talk. We coach him through it.
All right. I'll set that up. Yeah, that'll happen.
Keep going. I don't want it to end.
Oh, here's the thing is we don't have a name for the podcast. It's called This Podcast Needs a Name Podcast. So I'd like each of you, to come up with a potential name, and I want to use this at the beginning. So I'd love you to say, "Hi, my name is Michael Barresi, and I'm excited to be on."
Hi, my name is Michael Barresi, and I'm excited to be on Creative Curiosities.
I was going to say that.
Oh,
sorry.
There we go. That locks it up. Perfect.
Now, if may I give some feedback?
You may.
Yeah, I mean that's
after you
it's on the podcast. I ended.
You know,
or is this? Oh,
give your audience give your participants some chance to give a thought before. Like, I'd like to really bring something
I
home.
don't know. If you had read the email I sent you yesterday, it clearly said, "I'm going to ask you this question."
I did. You know, I
So,
struggle with reading. Don't make fun of me.
oh,
All right. Well,
you can play with the Lego group box.
first of all, I know from my years of expert marketing and branding that the
Yes.
longer the name is, the better. The
Okay.
more somebody has to think about trying to
Let's hear
regurgitate
it,
the name.
Puddles.
Like,
It
so
sounds.
I
Is this
actually,
part of the name? Is this the name?
what's hard for me here is I actually really like the name as you currently have it. And that's not me just trying to opt out of the exercise. I really